When we encounter others' negative energy, it often feels like a heavy cloud descending upon us, shifting the atmosphere and unsettling our peace. This experience is something that almost everyone has felt, whether it comes from an impatient colleague, an overly critical friend, or a frustrated family member. It seems like their negativity latches onto us, spreading through our thoughts and emotions, disrupting our calm. But how does this happen? How can someone else's bad mood or frustration seep into our own inner world? To answer this, we need to look inward. There's a powerful truth that we often overlook. Negativity can only take root in us if it resonates with something already within us. This might seem perplexing at first because we often feel blindsided by someone's negative energy when we're feeling perfectly fine. Yet if we look deeper, it's as if a part of us, perhaps a fear, insecurity, or unresolved emotion, has been triggered by their mood or actions. It's not that we are intentionally matching their energy, but their negativity awakens something in us that we may not even be conscious of. This could be a subtle annoyance, a latent frustration, or a hidden sensitivity. We often respond to this with resistance, not acceptance. And here lies a crucial point. Resistance doesn't solve the problem, it intensifies it. When we resist others' negativity, our immediate response is to push back, whether in our minds or outwardly. We feel a sense of injustice, an urge to defend ourselves, or even anger towards the person for disturbing our peace. But this resistance only ties us tighter to their energy. It's like being caught in a whirlpool. The more we struggle against it, the deeper we're pulled in. By resisting, we amplify the very negativity we're trying to avoid. Consider the times you felt particularly ruffled by someone else's bad mood. Perhaps a colleague snapped at you, or a loved one lashed out unexpectedly. Even if you were having a good day, their energy seems to stick with you, dragging you down. Why? Because in that moment, something within you got triggered. It might be a sense of injustice or a need for control over your environment. These moments reveal not just the other person's state of mind, but your own inner landscape. Recognizing this can be unsettling, but it also holds immense power, because what it really means is that your reaction is something within your control. This brings us to the next important realization. We can choose how to respond. Instead of resisting, we can allow their negativity to pass over us without becoming entangled in it. Easier said than done, you might think. But this is where the concept of presence becomes essential. Presence means being fully aware and anchored in the moment, without being swayed by the emotional turbulence around you. When you are present, you become like a calm, steady rock in the middle of a stormy sea. The waves of others' emotions may crash around you, but they cannot disturb your core. To cultivate this presence requires an ongoing practice of mindfulness. It means being conscious not just of others' actions, but of your own inner responses. When someone's negativity arises, instead of reacting automatically with frustration or annoyance, you pause. In that pause, you have a choice. Do you allow their energy to pull you into their state of mind, or do you stay grounded in your own? By choosing the latter, you maintain control over your emotional state, refusing to be a mirror for their negativity. But let's go further. Why does presence work? Presence is not merely about ignoring others or detaching from the world around us. It's about being fully engaged, but in a way that protects your inner peace. When you are present, you can observe their negative energy for what it is, a temporary state that doesn't define you. You realize that their frustration or anger is theirs to deal with, not something you need to fix or absorb. This doesn't mean you become indifferent or cold, but rather, you develop a sense of compassion without becoming enmeshed in their negativity. Compassion, in fact, plays a significant role here. When you approach others' negative energy with compassion, you shift the entire dynamic. Instead of viewing them as an adversary or someone to be defended against, you see them as a human being struggling with their own internal turmoil. This doesn't mean excusing poor behavior. but understanding that their negativity comes from a place of pain or confusion. By seeing them through this lens, you allow yourself to stay present rather than getting pulled into their emotional storm. Compassion becomes a buffer, protecting you from the temptation to react in kind. Yet it's important to acknowledge that this isn't always easy. There will be times when someone's negativity is intense, and your own emotional defenses are low. In these moments, it's natural to feel overwhelmed. However, this is also where the practice of acceptance comes in. Accepting that you cannot control others is liberating. You may wish they would change, or that their mood wouldn't affect you, but this desire only creates further resistance. Instead, when you accept that people will sometimes bring negative energy into your space, and that it's not your responsibility to change them, you free yourself from the burden of carrying their emotional weight. This acceptance doesn't mean you passively endure toxic behavior. On the contrary, it empowers you to set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not about pushing people away or shutting them out, but about maintaining your own peace while allowing others to have their experience. You can be compassionate without being a sponge for their negativity. You can listen without absorbing. You can care without getting swept away. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect, acknowledging that your emotional well-being matters too. Interestingly, by not engaging with others' negativity, you often help dissipate it. Negative energy thrives on reaction. When someone is in a bad mood, they often unconsciously seek a response from others, whether it's a fight, validation, or sympathy. But when you don't feed into their energy, there's nothing for them to latch onto. This doesn't mean their negativity vanishes instantly, but without your participation, it loses momentum. In time, they may even come to see their own behavior more clearly because you haven't mirrored it back to them. There's a deeper lesson here as well. Dealing with others' negative energy is not about changing them, but about transforming yourself. When you focus on maintaining your own peace and presence, you stop being vulnerable to external emotional storms. You realize that your state of mind is your responsibility, no matter what is happening around you. This shift in perspective not only protects your emotional well-being, but also creates a ripple effect. When you maintain your calm in the face of negativity, you model a different way of being for others. You show them, consciously or unconsciously, that they too have the power to rise above their emotional reactivity. In this way, dealing with others' negative energy becomes an opportunity for growth, not just for you, but for those around you. It's an invitation to practice patience, compassion, and inner strength. And while it's not always easy, the more you cultivate this practice, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you'll find that others' negativity affects you less and less, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You've strengthened your emotional boundaries, deepened your presence, and embraced the understanding that your peace is yours to protect.